Security Halt podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan SARMS, Precision Wellness Group, and Pure Liberty Labs. We don't. We're going to have used to the old...
Everybody got a cell phone? All right, we're good.
The SF way, adapt, overcome.
my last trip, we had our Harris radios, but we were operating in a joint environment. So it was like the Brits we were rolling with had much stricter, I'm not even gonna say rules of engagement. It was rules of just rolling out of the gate. Meanwhile, any one of us Americans could just like, hey, we're gonna go. You got me on ATAC? Okay, good. Let's go. It got to the point where, so I was the sergeant major, and my counterpart, my commander was a Brit. It got to the point where occasionally, if he didn't have to go, which was completely counter to like British culture, like because officers run everything in the UK. If he didn't have to go and comms were a mess, it'd be like, all right, you got it.
Tyr, welcome to Security Halt podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's nice to link up with you again after 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, 7th Group in its infinite wisdom said, we need a soft liaison. Let's send the only 2 Panamanians we have in the battalion. And that's how
to Korea.
to Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which ended up being an amazing experience. That was a very memorable trip for 2 reasons. The people were just, man, amazing individuals.
Yeah, Koreans are great.
Yeah, great. And the fact that we got to live on the Army's dime in a resort-style high-rise apartment. Thank you to the Marriott's extended stay hotel. That was.
Were you at the Dragon Inn or were you at K2?
No. We were originally at the Dragon Inn in our battalion. I mean, fuck, I'm out of the military. They're like, this is too expensive.
Right.
We need to go find somewhere to live. So you're saying we need to find somewhere to live that's at cost? And he's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, okay. So we went to the Marriott's extended stay suites, which is like a high-rise building, the fanciest cars I've ever seen of people that live there. And they have this thing where they provide all the meals and all this stuff and all these amenities. And we're like, just take all of it. All of it. We just want a place to stay here. And they're like, yeah, we can do it at this price. And we're like, all right, I guess this is where we're sleeping.
It was such a weird trip for me, man, because we were on the brink of the worst. We were on the brink of near peer kinetic action. And, my buddies in the 3X over there in SOC Corps were telling me exactly when it was going to kick off. So I counted that as pretty reliable intel that we were doing this. And the cost estimate, if you will, was 40% casualties in the first 48 hours.
Yeah. All that, the whole area by Incheon, gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And, not a stranger to combat. We were talking, my first trip was in 2003, humping around in the Hindu Kush and everything else. And so it was just such a weird dichotomy because I'm living in a first world country, Samsung literally everywhere because that's where Samsung's from. And great food, great people, really low threat of even if intelligence services were following you around, it was probably Koreans and like, who cares?
Yeah.
So it's super strange, but you've got that in the back of your mind, like, okay, if this kicks off, everybody is in artillery range of North Korea and it's all nerve and chemical. So enjoy being, a green glob. I thought about, what's the movie with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery?
Yes, The Rock.
Rock. I thought about that movie a lot in 2018.
Oh, dude, it was such a rad place to be at that time period because the partner force was spun up. Everybody's like discussing like their plan of actions, and I'm just like, dude, we're all dead.
Yeah,
we're all dead.
So that was a weird thing. So being the AOBK sergeant major, with teams spread out over the country with their respective partner companies, or units, I kind of got a feel for the different soft units over there. And it wasn't my first trip to Korea because I've been a PACOM guy my whole career.
Yeah.
And one thing about the Koreans is they're really fit, and they can
Yes.
pound some soju, and they will challenge you to that. And in that respect, it's like working with maybe one of the best infantry units in the world. But the one big downfall of them is everything is for show.
The
It is
demos.
so performative, man. God forbid you've got a dude that is like a Division I athlete, sprinter, or distance runner or something. They don't know what to do with that because all of a sudden somebody can outrun them. Typically most SF guys, with the exception of a few, teams ending in 5, cannot outrun them, right? And for listeners that aren't
Yeah.
SF savvy, it's a dive team. But yeah, you've got one dude that can run. They don't know what to do all of a sudden because somebody has out PT'd them. But in terms of mission planning and everything else that goes into being a Green Beret, or even, I was going to say special operations in general, but not all special operations plan. So I'm just going to say Green Beret. They don't have it, man. They don't have it because they're so, like, top priority is, I think they took our SF rules to heart, right? Rule number 1, always look good.
Yes.
Rule number 2, always know where you are. Rule number 3, if you don't know where you are, go back to rule number
Revert
1.
back.
Yeah, they're all about looking good
Yeah.
and being in shape. But I don't know that. I tried to do MDMP with them once on a full eagle exercise, foul chicken, we like to call it.
So we were there for Full Eagle, and that's exactly, everybody has their like space Starship Command computer system, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I bet you if we just went to talk to one of these lieutenants, one of these captains, they wouldn't know 3rd level questions about anything that's going on. There's
they don't.
yeah.
But I guarantee you, Danny, if you ask him a specific question about what happens on a specific day at a specific time, they will look around and pull
The
a book
script.
out of the cargo pocket and go, "Oh yeah, the general is going to be here on this day, and the ambush will come this way." They know, because if they don't,
Yeah.
there's a chance they won't look good.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah,
partner team, they really wanted to go out and do Korean barbecue, and
Yeah.
their team sergeant wanted to challenge me to a soju contest. Robin stage moment. Of course, you got to Roger up to it though. But initial answer was, we can't. We're in isolation. We're doing mission planning. We, we've got this to fill. And it was like captain to captain talking to each other. And their captain, exactly that, just pulled out a little smart book out of his pocket. It looked like it had been printed at Kinko's, and told him exactly the answers he needed. And we're like, why are we struggling? Like, I just had the battalion CSM deliver a pallet of monsters to this team room because we're doing like 24 hours, which I will never forget. He still works in group as a civilian. And every time I see him, I thank him for that, because that was
Oh,
missed.
yeah, dude. It was a wild time, but it gave me like great insight to what it takes to do that job at that in that detachment. Like we forget about these smaller these smaller like entities, like especially at 7th Group. We don't have a forward deployed element. We don't have anybody in Puerto Rico or in Panama.
Right.
But
And was
like,
Puerto Rico really forward deployed anyway? I mean,
they really try to make that happen. They really try to make that happen. I'm like, somebody has family there. They're just trying to get that
I'm
approved.
sure there's a lot of extended family in Puerto Rico now. That's what happens. We call that generational trauma.
I really would love to be there for Junior, but that the C-17s are moving to Puerto Rico.
How many kids do you have? I'm like, 3 that I know about. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. There's probably some like half Viking Filipino kids running around somewhere.
But yeah, that detachment in Korea, they're all there by themselves, and they have a pretty robust job, man. Like that, it takes a lot to be an NCO there, to be taking care of an entire friggin' like battalion plus. Like, and I didn't get that insight. And then and the language, man, like we always get shit on in 7th Group, but yeah, you have to admit, Spanish is pretty easy.
Right.
And getting
It is.
getting to Korea and be like,
we call Indonesian the Spanish of Asia. Right.
I've actually heard that.
So In seventh group, you've just got the Spanish of Spanish.
This episode is also brought to you by Precision Wellness Group. Getting your hormones optimized shouldn't be a difficult task, and Dr. Taylor Bosley has changed the game. Head on over to precisionwellnessgroup.com, enroll, and become a patient today. Yeah, dude, it's very thankless job going there, and then seeing the professionalism of the individuals. Like, it's like, dude, kudos to you guys. Like, but I also didn't know the rich history. I had no idea that
Boy, yeah.
long ago there was a lot of seventh group blood that went through there. Like, going down that hallway, I still remember it. I'm like, why there's a Martinez, a Garcia. What the fuck?
Yeah. So you're a free fall guy, right?
But yeah.
Yeah. So where was the first military free fall jump?
So actually, I know this because I do the social media for Special Forces Foundation. At 39, the first one we're out in Korea.
Yeah. I didn't know that until reading Annie Jacobson's book, because I thought it was, MACV in Vietnam. Turns out they were doing it in the Korean War with not great results.
No. I also didn't know that we had connective tissue to NASA. I didn't know that we had dudes that were involved with like going after the recovery of the rockets for
Yeah.
I forget the mission. But that's like a testament to like our regiment has been doing amazing things that people forget about, man.
Bro,
Like,
there's so much of our history that is still under wraps or just straight up forgotten because
yeah.
maybe people didn't think of it as relevant at the time. I when I taught ROTC, my boss was his last assignment was he was a historian at USASOC.
No way.
Yeah, and I kind of at the time, I'm fresh out of like when I took that job, I took it as taking a break because between my military deployments and civilian deployments, I hadn't been home longer than 4 months straight since graduating the Q course,
Yeah,
which
dude.
was 7 years straight. So, I was pretty salty when I got into that office, and him coming from this cush job, like historian, it used to suck. He's a great dude, by the way. But I initially looked at that. I was like, okay, well, we got a pogue on our hands. I mean, at least he's a jump master. He's got his master blaster wing. I guess that's good. But when you're at Bragg, that's what else are you gonna do? But
Yeah.
looking back on it now, man, it is what you're doing here with this podcast and what everybody else is doing that is actually documenting the history and the stories of what actually happened from guys on the ground. I think it is really, really important. I mean, there's some out there that are you know, there's a couple of media outlets out there that I won't name by name, but I just
I
think they're
know. I
they're
can
tricky.
sense it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think so there's a certain amount of soft rage bait out there, and it's working
Yeah.
really well. And
Yeah.
I've always told dudes that nobody will tear a Green Beret down like another Green Beret. We are mean girls. You can't sit with
Oh,
us.
fuck yeah.
Oh, you're from a different team? No. But then you get somewhere else. Oh, you're from a different company? No. Oh, you're from
Yeah.
a different battalion, and it just goes up, right?
Yeah.
When you get into the joint environment, it's not like that. You gotta learn that you aren't the cock of the walk, or maybe you are, but you're not gonna be able to do your job unless you play nice with others.
It's so true, man. Like, I don't know why we do that. I understand when you're in a team and you mess up, being held accountable, but shitting on each other on the outside, or being somebody that focuses on the negative stuff. Like,
Yeah.
look, you got to be able to hold people accountable, but doing a play by play as to why this organization is dog shit versus this organization, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has great skill sets. Like, dude, some of the best people I've met have been Navy SEALs on the outside. Some of the dudes that I talk to on a regular basis are Navy SEALs, but we shit on each other, shit on this team. Oh, fuck SEALs and that. I'm like, dude,
Well,
man.
with the exception of SEALs,
Yeah. Like, we don't do a good, like, we don't understand, like, when you get on the outside, that team room is infinitely infinitely huge, and it has to incorporate other dudes from other organizations. Like, you don't have to tear each other apart, man, just because one person's a piece of shit. If we were all measured, if every Green Beret was measured by that one Green Beret and what he did, we'd be fucked. So don't do it for the other forces. Don't do it for SEALs, man. Don't do it for
Yeah.
anybody.
It happens in the ranks too, though, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been an E9 for a hot minute now. I've turned down CSM a couple times, which that's one of the strengths of the Guard is you can just say no. Um, it's kind of weird. But I've also been passed over
Yeah.
a couple times, and I said no a couple times, and then I got passed over, and I was like, "What happened?" I was,
I
and
like being the one that turns it away.
yeah, yeah, it is, but your reputation can make or break you. But at the operational level, you have time to make that up. When you start getting up into the leadership ranks, people will either love you or hate you, or don't know you at all. And that can be a challenge. Um, I've always been, we're switching gears here a little bit, but I've always been really suspect of people that want to make rank.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I get it on the conventional side because you got to stereotypically support people are better at taking care of their career than the frontline dudes.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that. They have it all mapped out. They know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And thank God that we are not like other branches where once you get into E8 and E9 level, it's like branch immaterial.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the
Yeah.
best teammates I ever had.
Hey, we got to pause real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Grandpa's calling.
Yeah.
Hey, Grandpa. Yeah, I am. I'm downstairs. Okay, I'll be up there in 30 seconds. Okay, be there in a second. All right, I got to go help him get out of
Yeah.
bed. I'll be right back.
Don't worry about that. You're taking care of our greatest generation, man.
You hear me?
There we go. Sorry, I had a coughing fit. Yeah.
A glimpse of that denim shirt coming downstairs, man. This is one of those things like you see on the rack, like, yeah, that's cool. But then you got to work up the balls to wear it because there's only two ways you can go, right? It's either you end up the Marlboro Man or Ellen DeGeneres. Like there's not a lot in between.
It's a workman outfit. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I have a affinity to Patagonia, and I have a few of their denim work shirts. Yeah. Nothing like going out to work with a $200 denim shirt from Patagonia.
Right? Yeah. Pickaxe over your shoulder.
It's a ball peen hammer, sir. Yeah. I got the rotor needs to be fixed.
It's that scene out of Hot Rod where he's just in the garage. Oh, Denise, didn't see you there. I guess there is a third option. You could be Bob Ross, but nobody could be Bob Ross and be cool except Bob Ross. So.
That's the only man. That's the only man. He made, God, yeah, bless that man.
So my grandpa, World War II paratrooper.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know any of this until he was in his 80s. Right?
What?
I knew he was in World War II, but
yeah,
everybody in that generation was in World War II. Or most people anyway. I came home from a rotation someplace bad, and I'm sitting there at his breakfast table, and he came in from doing whatever he was doing in the yard. I was recovering from multiple time zones, so I got up around 10 or so. I'm sitting at his kitchen table. He comes in from the yard, and he just sits down and goes, I drove over an IED in Japan, and it put me in a coma for 2 months. And I'm just like spoon to mouth with cereal, and I'm just looking at him, and that was it. He just got up and walked back out to the yard. Nobody in the family knew that.
Holy shit!
Wow, yeah. So his service has just kind of been trickling out like that.
Yeah, well, they're built different, man. They're built so different. I had this past summer, I had the honor of taking part of a Return to the Battlefield program from the Best Defense Foundation, and it's life changing, man. Like if you don't have the connective tissue of family, like I'm not from here. Like so beyond grateful to be American, but all my roots are, little chancla wearing people from Panama. Like they didn't, to my knowledge, there's no great Panamanian general or leader that was storming the beaches of Normandy. I missed out on that lineage.
Normandy. I was going to say Normandy. Yeah. Oh, right.
This episode is brought to you by Titan SARMS. Head on over to titansarms.com and buy a stack today. Use my code CDenny10 to get your first stack. I recommend the Lean Stack 2. Start living your best life. Titan SARMS. No junk, no bullshit, just results. My lineage is drug trade and questionable banking practices. That's how proud I am. But yeah, like you grow up seeing and hearing all these great American stories of what happened with that generation in World War II in both theaters, and you're just like, man, like I don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah.
And the first time I felt really proud was serving in the 82nd, and then I could say like I'm part of this organization. And then meeting I got to do one of those great like meetups of the old paratroopers, and that felt amazing. But going there and being with heroes from that time period and just breaking bread with them and walking around all those sites and the stories came out just like that. You're having dinner, hanging out, but then if you just sit there and you just walk with them, they'll give you a little bit of history of their lived experience, and it's like, fuck, dude. Like
I brought one of my buddies to Cape Fear Valley ER one time. I don't remember why, but it was during the daytime. But it was also All American Week. And this is well over a decade ago. So there was more World War II vets around.
Yeah.
But there was an older man in the bed next to my buddy. And he looked over and said, You boys airborne? I said, yes, sir. He goes, me too. He goes, how many jumps you got? I said, I don't know, maybe 25, 26. I don't know. He was like, and I could do, it's like, it's fishing for the question. I said, how about you? He said, just 4. And they were all named,
The only 4 that matter.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's badass.
Sometimes I wonder, I know that our generation suffers a lot from imposter syndrome. And I think it's probably worse in the SF community than other forces, because we are beat down by our superiors and, told to be quiet professionals. And part of that is, and I think also part of that is just soft by nature, because we have an inherent desire to prove ourselves and reach for something higher. And once you reach a certain level, you're like, oh, what now? So you reach for that next level. And that's both a strength and a curse for us. But I wonder if with him, part of that silence about his service, and particularly his injury, was a little bit of an imposter syndrome. Just a hint. I mean, there's other stuff that goes in there, but because he was in quartermaster corps, it wasn't a supply guy, he was a truck driver. And on the surface, coming from combat arms, like, oh, all right, you're an 88 Mike, whatever, but if you're an 88 Mike in Iraq,
bro,
like you could have picked a better job,
Yeah.
I mean, for safety, but the reason he ended up being an 88 Mike, when you dive into this a little bit, and where I was going with that is, like, he also got to Japan after the surrender. In his mind, it's possible that he missed out on the actual glory. And he had to sign up. He's the youngest of 7 brothers and sisters. He had to get his parents' permission to enlist at 16. That's why he's still around, even though he's 96. He was a young buck in World War II at the very tail end. But if you delve into why he was a truck driver and what he was doing in Japan, it's actually pretty cool. So he told me, I just learned this like last week. He said, the word, because of the war, they shut down the school and there weren't no men to do the jobs. So they shut down school so us boys could do the work. So he was driving truck from Waco, Texas to Houston at night at 12 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah, at 12. I looked at him, he goes, "Well, it's not like the roads are now. Couldn't do it like that." I was like, "Well, yeah, I imagine." But, that gave him the background. I'm sure the Army said, "What do you know how to do?" He said, "I can drive trucks," so I made him a truck driver. Now how he
I
ended up
can
being a
drive.
paratrooper is it paid an extra $12 a month,
Yeah.
and he figured that was pretty good. Side note, I did the math for, like, inflation and consumer price index. For our jump pay to be equal to his was, we would be paid $940 a month for basic airborne pay. We've been shafted.
Yeah. They're good at that, especially our
Gravity hasn't changed, in the last 50 years, 75 years.
yeah.
What he was doing, what he got assigned to, 8th Army. That's what he remembers, 8th Army. He was on a slow boat to Japan as part of a contingency airborne invasion force
Mm.
if the bombs didn't work. And, this is one of the coolest part about his story. He says, "They surrendered while I was on the boat. They heard that boy from Waco was coming." I love it, man.
Still got
Just so yeah, I love it. They ended up being a motor
it.
sergeant, and, he said, "They surrendered, but they didn't give up." He said that there was still pockets fighting and, which I don't think most civilians would understand, but, us fighting insurgencies for 20 years, we get that.
Oh, 100%.
There's a difference between what's on paper and what somebody in the hills is motivated with.
Fucking loot, dude. And hell, the last guy, the surrender, the guy that was on that island,
Mhm.
what year was that? Like the 70s, the 60s, 70s? The last
I think
holdout Japanese troop.
so there were a couple of them, and I think the last one was actually later than that.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
dude.
I think it was when we were kids. Yeah.
Could imagine that. So, summer.
It's wild, man.
Yeah,
It's wild. So, what he's struggling with right now, he just moved in with me about a month and a half ago, and, I'm his full-time caretaker, which I was already in transition. I'm in the process of, being medically retired after 30 years, and, so I've got all my appointments, and I've got my VA disability, and this
yeah,
last week, man, it was nothing but VA. It was
bro.
me the first few days and him the second few days, but his, between being a general contractor his entire life and being airborne in World War II
Yeah.
and actually getting blown up and having he goes, "I got this piece of metal on my back. I guess it might be I don't know if you'd call it shrapnel." I said, "Well, Grandpa, if it came off of something that exploded and it's in you, yes, that is shrapnel, in my medical opinion." He's in a lot of pain right now. I feel bad. He's transitioned. The VA is trying, man. They really do treat him well, but nothing runs as fast as it should.
Yeah, especially right now with this. I can only imagine with the shutdown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I just called the number the doctor gave me on Thursday, and it said, "We're experiencing technical difficulties." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're experiencing
No.
money difficulties."
Yep. Man, that's got to be. You know, I know this is not missed out on you. You're a writer.
Yeah.
You're transitioning. You're seeing the end. The light of the sun is setting on your military career, and you're in this position of taking care of someone that you love, and in this late stage in their life. I have to imagine it comes with a lot of reflection, a lot of review as you're having to care, be compassionate, and also sit down and be like, wow, like there's a lot of change. There's a lot of slowing down in my life right now.
So it's kinda like looking into, a crystal ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I called this over my shoulder as I was getting up to walk out. You were saying something about taking care of the greatest generation. I have had some, pats on the backs for doing what I'm doing, but I really didn't see it as an option.
Yeah. No, it's family.
When his care gets beyond to what I can provide, then I will look at other options. Right now, it's very important that he is with people that he knows and that he loves, and,
Absolutely.
I I would I hope that my kids see this and do the same thing for me when,
Yeah.
if I make it to 96, you know?
Well, man, it's our culture. We don't like
No,
we
we don't.
don't take care of our elders, and we also don't prioritize it as part of being a warrior, than the nurturing side of being a warrior. This episode is brought to you by Pure Liberty Labs, quality supplements designed to elevate your health and performance. Check out their full line of quality supplements, whether you're looking for whey protein, pre-workout, creatine, or a super greens drink. Pure Liberty Labs has you covered. Use my code SecurityHalt10 at checkout today.
Yeah,
You, it is 100% part of it. 100%. Like, who better to take care of your grandfather than you? Like, who better? Like, you lived, you went through something. You can connect on so many different levels. Like,
yeah,
we have to understand that. Like, we have to reach back in time to see, because at one point that was part of the American way.
right.
When mom and dad got too old, we took care of them.
Well, I think we were more nuclear before, you know, and I think some of that was out of necessity. You know, I don't think all of it is values based. Part of the reason people had so many kids back in the day was
Work.
your intentionality and you needed somebody to till the field.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just I'd really like to be a mom or a dad. We're gonna lose
Yeah.
this farm if we don't produce some offspring. You know? But I think that progressed, and you know, I don't think that I don't know this for a fact, but I don't recall anybody ever talking about the geriatric care industry. You know, when you talk to older people, nobody ever says, "Oh, I had to put them in." I mean, maybe our parents, but if you talk to your grandparents back in the day, nobody's ever said anything about putting somebody in an old folks home. The only thing you're close to that is a soldier's home, which the VA briefed me as an option. I'm like, no, not yet, and they're not close enough to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to drive an hour down to Fort Lewis to visit my grandpa every
Yeah.
day.
Not
So
worth it. Not yet.
no.
Um,
Here's
yeah.
another thing, man. I missed out. Some of this is selfish for me because I missed out on so much time with my family, running and gunning for
Absolutely,
years.
man.
You
And you've
know,
seen it, and the thing that's remarkable is you didn't just see it through one lens. You saw it, and you evolved with the GWOT. You saw it as a Green Beret, oftentimes as a contractor. Like, it's it's one thing, and I've had several guests like, yeah, I work for Blackwater, but doing this, switching hats, and I mean, you have a different perspective on it. It's not just one sided. It's like, fuck, like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna make a shitload of money, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna put on the unconventional warfare hat on and go there and try to win the war.
so interesting about my contract experience. I used to have a T-shirt that said, "I'm not here for the money." The reason I went to Blackwater in the first place is because 19th, my company was in the initial invasion of Iraq, but I missed out on that because I was learning Thai, so I could spend the next year in Afghanistan. Uh, so I
It
missed
makes
out on
sense when you think about
yeah. So I missed out on the initial invasion of Iraq.
it.
And that's where the fight was in it 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 wasn't happening for me. I was in and out of Africa, like every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I think one trip was 6 weeks, and that was a cool job, you know, especially for an SF guy. If you look back to, like, what dudes were doing, you know, after Vietnam and how Soldier of Fortune magazine
Yeah, the
was
Soldier of
big.
Fortune magazines, man.
Yeah, yeah, you know, it's definitely part of the heritage,
Yeah,
but, um, I'm I was young, and I was chomping at the bit to get in a fight with everybody else, and, Army wasn't sending me, and that's how I ended up with Blackwater. It wasn't, "All right, I've done my piece because 'cause I'd already spent a year in Afghanistan at that point, uh, 9 months, whatever, but, it wasn't like, "All right, I served my nickel, now let me get mine." It was that's where the mission is.
yeah.
So, I was
Those are the
young.
early years. Those are the
Yeah,
early
and I
years
was
with
still running
Backwater.
to the sound of the guns, you know,
Yeah.
and I would I would get really agitated at people that weren't mission forward. at the time, and I stayed that way for a long time. Now I'm far more balanced, you know, uh, because I've done the full gamut. You know, I've been frontline, I've been operational, I've been strategic, I've done CMO. I was in the Seattle riots as a SF sergeant major. You know,
Shit.
yeah, I've done the whole gamut, and I see I see the cost up front. I see the the cost on the backside, especially see the cost on the backside. So I'm not. I get when the young guy is chomping at the bit to get out there, and I know no matter what I tell him, it's not going to
Yep.
satiate that desire
No.
because
Yeah.
every young man in the history of young men feels a need to prove himself, and especially after you go through a year to 2 years of training. You want to put those skills to the test.
Yeah.
100% get it.
Nobody does it for practice. Nobody
The
does
only
it.
thing you can do is present possible outcomes like, okay, you want to do that. This is what could happen on the backside.
Yep.
And with my own experience, as much cool stuff as I've done, there's a cost to everything. You know, I'm not stereotypical old school SF dude that's been married 4 times. Where I'm not stereotypical is I didn't find myself at the bottom of a bottle. I went and got help instead of eating a block.
Dude, let's talk about that. That's that's something that I found really important to talk about. Um, navigating divorce, navigating that perceived failure. And how did you go through that and not fall to the wayside with alcohol, with drugs? What were some of the things that you leaned on instead?
Sex. Yeah. Yeah. Especially when I was downrange beforehand, man, it was very comforting to find a Baghdad 10 and just, just be in her bed
Yeah.
and be held. You know, that was, that was my drug, if you will. And I was gone so much that, it wasn't that difficult. And honestly, let's face it, dude, it's not that hard if you're a Green Beret. Between the people skills that they train us and just having that resume bullet right there up front, it's you could be an ugly Green Beret and you're still gonna do all right.
I disagree with you, sir. I did not do well.
I mean, if you want to, right? And to any family members that are happen to see this, it's not. I remember when I was in the Q course, there was a book that came out that was real controversial called "The Company They Keep," and it was written by a really educated person, a female that got embedded with the team, and a lot of SF dudes were really upset about it, not just because there was an embedded writer, but because she their impression was that she made it sound like every SF dude was out there cheating on his wife every time
Oh,
he went on a J set or went overseas or anything else. And that's not the case. I have seen that culture. I've been a part of that culture. And I know you have because you
100%.
live in La Vida Loca in Colombia. But
Yeah. No, it's true. What I witnessed though, it's for some teams, it's dictated by who's in charge.
yeah, 100%.
It's dictated
100%.
by who's in charge. And I'm
Mhm.
not throwing anybody under the bus. I will say this. I had a business upfront team sergeant in South America. I had just as much fun, but it was never an issue. Everybody knew what the primary thing was. And the rule was like, hey, you can have fun. But 4 a.m., we're executing movement and we're going to go train. We're going to go be with our partner force. I had an amazing time. I saw and did amazing things, but it was business up front. And the team sergeant kept everybody in line. I did another trip and the team sergeant was insane, absolutely batshit insane. So what happened? Chaos, absolute fucking chaos. So if the leadership is all about business up front and understands that guys want to have dinner, want to go do and see things. He'll find a way that so guys can get excited and enjoy stuff. But if the person in charge is a live wire, insane, out of his fucking mind, what do you think the team culture is going to be?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The team sergeant does set the culture. That's what I didn't like about 12 Strong, by the way. Where
Yeah.
was team sergeant?
You could not tell like who the fuck the team sergeant was.
Yeah. It's just Thor, the team leader riding, in a World War II Polish cavalry charge against T-72. Is like, come on, man. Like, I know some of those guys. That is not how this happened.
They didn't give any time to explain who was who and highlight the team sergeant. Because I'm sorry, that is the fucking figurehead. That is the dad. That is the end all be all. It is a trinity. You have a team sergeant, you have a warrant, you have a captain, but it's the team sergeant. He's the end all be all. That is, man is going to bring your guys home. That's the dude you rally around. And they never did that. And that's why it doesn't get my thumbs up of like, if you want to watch Chris Hemsworth without his Thor hammer, go watch it. If you want real story, you got to dig deeper. You got to go read the book. Doug Stanton, great guy.
You got pause. VA's calling. All right, back. That was weird.
Awesome.
Like a medical assistant called me back for my grandpa, but she just regurgitated exactly what I told her and then said she'd tell the doctor. I'm like, okay.
All right. Well, thanks.
So, yeah. Let's go back to, we're talking about some of the mental health stuff.
Yeah.
So not just sex, like that was part of it. But the other thing that I took was deployment. Running to the next mission was how I coped. And when things got really bad for me, I've gone through a lot of therapy at this point, as you know. And it was kind of a slow burning fuse from 2022. Actually probably 2020. So I finished that last trip, came back from Korea 2019, started transitioning back to civilian life, but then 2020 happened. Mostly peaceful, riots and whatnot, and I'm living in Seattle.
Yeah.
And getting activated for that broke a barrier that I had set for myself. I always had my downrange life and my home life. And now I'm in a combat zone 6 miles from my front door. And so I didn't have that safe space anymore. And that kind of warped my safety boundaries a little bit. You combine that with, I had, for the contracting side, I had to go through some court-ordered psych evals for a court case that was going on. And that dug up everything that I had put 5 layers of dirt on. Because I knew that I had PTSD. I knew that I had PTSD from the day that I was in my home in my living room in 2007, and I heard a backfire on the street, and I got flat on my floor, and the rest of my family is looking at me like I'm crazy. And in my mind, I'm like, "You're at home. That was a backfire." But my body was like, "Shut up."
Body keeps a score, man. It's locked in there.
And I'm high crawled to the front door, and I looked out, and my family's just looking at me like, "Oh my God, this is like a Vietnam guy we saw on TV." But I always had it in my mind, like, I will talk to somebody about this when I'm done, because if I get help now, I'm going to dull my edge, and I need to stay razor sharp. Been a lot of money invested in me, and if I don't go, who's going to go? Those were all my justifications for not getting help when I did, or when I should have. What I preach to people now is, you don't wait till your edge is worn down to a nub before you take it back to the blacksmith, right? You will be a sharper tool and be more useful in the long run if you go in and talk to people about things that are bothering you or whatever
Hmm.
en route, right? You can stay operational longer if you don't run yourself into the ground. And I don't know that I think people hear that, but they don't adhere to it. And
Absolutely.
I think our command is probably partly to blame on that because they are when you've got a 2-year command cycle, that race starts for that commander the second he accepts that flag. And so everything else is kind of secondary. And I'm
Absolutely.
not saying all commanders are bad, but there have been some that are like, okay, well, do whatever you want with that guy. If he's not operational, I don't have time for him. That's we can put on every SOCOM pamphlet that's ever been printed, humans are more important than hardware. But until the command starts believing it, it's useless.
Yeah.
It's just a slogan.
And unfortunately, that the guys have gotten to the point where they don't believe it. And
Why would they?
even when there's guys that are really working hard to change that.
Mhm.
We have to change the culture, and we have to like it's it's sad, man. You get great leaders, and they do mean it, and they put a lot of time and effort into it, and they try and try and try. But as soon as they switch over, the next guy is in the seat, and he doesn't care. It just goes right back.
Restarts again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I do have a solution, you know. Sorry, Major talking here. Well, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Get off my grass. Get off my I do have a solution. The Army is very good at sending their future leaders on the officer side to get their master's degree and, command staff, college and ILE and all of this, right? There are these educational we get online SSD, which we get 2 PE credits for, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, they're getting a master's degree so they can go work at Northrop Grumman later.
Yeah.
I'm not as bitter about that imbalance at all. Uh, but in the midst of that time away from the teams or, on the conventional side, their platoon, their company, whatever, right? In that educational time, that personal development time, make them go to counseling.
Yeah.
Make them. Don't make it voluntary. Make them go to therapy because that's the only way they're ever going to understand the other side of that coin, and where that's the only way they're ever going to truly understand that humans are more important than hardware. Because I'll tell you, I was a team sergeant for 5 years, and I did not have a lot of patience for anybody that was running over a 14-minute 2 mile,
Yeah.
right? And while I was the first to fight to the death for my guys, everything was mission, everything. So if that's happening at a team level, imagine what's happening at the company level or battalion level.
Yeah.
God forbid the group level. So I think that's a first step is make senior leaders go to therapy whether they want to or not.
Yeah. And right along the same lines, friggin' guys need to start taking care of themselves. Like,
Yeah, they do.
how many injuries did you, did you cover up throughout the entirety of your career?
Bro, what are you talking about? I didn't have any injuries until 2 years ago.
That's everybody I talked to, even if they had major surgeries. I've known guys that have gone to Germany to have operations. They paid
Out of pocket.
begged
Yeah.
out of pocket to have surgeries overseas, and it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So the VA just diagnosed me with ADHD, which I've known I've had since my
same.
son was diagnosed when he was 8 years old. How did I know? Because his signs and symptoms were everything that I struggled with my entire life. I don't know how I became an 18 Delta. Really don't, because me and studying or just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Sometimes you got hyper focus. Sometimes you're shiny things all over the place. But even with that diagnosis, like, and I had a civilian diagnosis in a script that was completely off the books
Wow.
before MH Genesis, right? And that helped me out. But I was talking to my battalion a few years back. He's like, "You don't want that diagnosis." I said, "I don't." He's like, "You'll be non-deployable." Like, I've tried to do it. He said he tried to do it himself. He said, There's so many waivers you got to jump through to be deployable if you're on if you got that diagnosis and if you've got a script. I said, we get downrange, you're giving us amphetamines to stay awake on missions. He's like, I didn't say it made sense. I'm just telling you how the system works.
It makes I don't understand it because we got Provigil to keep you up. On the backside, I'm getting treated for retarded brain syndrome, having TBI,
Mhm.
and they prescribe me Provigil under the different name, armodafinil, and it's like, make it make sense. Like, no, your brain's fucked now. Now, when you take this, it'll help regulate you. It's like, what the fuck? Like, the amount of medications too is insane. Insane. I mean, I'm sure that you're starting to see it now as you're going through this process, and they just start just like typing in, like, here's your new script, go
When I
fill it.
went in inpatient, that is the most medications I've ever been on in my life. And being an 18 Delta, the only 18 Delta on the team, I could prescribe myself whatever because I had everything. I did not. But which is another problem with the medical records. If you're an 18 Delta, you're just treating yourself
Yeah.
and there's no 600 on it. But yeah, they had me on, when I went in inpatient, they had me on hydroxyzine for sleep, Atarax for dopamine receptor control, Lexapro for depression. Those are the big three, but I know there was other ones. Here's something weird they don't tell you. When your mind starts getting right, your guts start getting right as
Yeah.
well. I had IBS for like 3 or 4 straight years. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. 107 heard about it. They're like, "My God, you got colon cancer." Get that Rhode
yeah,
Island accent.
yeah, your asshole's falling out.
So I had screening, came back negative. Bro, that was my blood-brain barrier. Once I started getting right up here, things started getting better with my gut.
People don't understand how those two are connected. If you constantly live in fight or flight, you're not going to be having the greatest bowel movements.
No, man.
And that's something that many of us, I mean, it's not a popular thing to go in a team room and be like, hey, I just had an SGB and now I'm not in the verge of shitting my pants 24/7.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because, our buddy Ignacio called me up one day. I don't know if you know this, but Ignacio Garza, Sergeant Major retired, SF Foundation. I was just saying that for your audience. We were on the same team in selection.
no shit.
We go way, way back. And then he was a class ahead of me in the Delta course. But he just called me up one day. This is when I was before I went to Iraq in 23, but I was really on the struggle bus. He just called me up and said, "Here's the address. Here's the time. We've already paid for it. Get yourself there. Right time, right place, right uniform." He paid. He scheduled me an SGB. He didn't ask if I wanted one. He scheduled me one. And when I got that, boy, did they hit bullseye because I looked like I had Bell's palsy for
Yeah.
a hot minute.
Yeah,
But
dude.
dude, that was such. I was hurting so bad. As soon as I got that, it was like, you know, when you're on like a 12 or 20-mile ruck
Mhm.
and somebody lifts your rucksack up. That's what it felt like. It felt like somebody lifted my rucksack up, and it was the first good night of sleep I'd had in X amount of time. The problem with that is when I tell people that, the people that are actually comfortable with getting a dart in their neck, uh, they do that and they think, "Okay, I'm good." And
Yeah.
SGB is a Band-Aid. It gives you the time and space to work on other things.
Yes. 100 fucking percent.
You know, if your legs are wearing out and you've gotta lift something else up, you're not gonna be able to do it with your rucksack still on, right? So it gives you enough time and space to work on other stuff. But if you think, "Oh, I had an SGB. I'm good
I'm
now."
good. No, you still
Yeah,
gotta do the work. You still gotta
you're not doing your work. Yeah, that's the problem with the Band-Aids, right? Is that they are Band-Aids. You still got that underlying trauma, and you've gotta go and figure out when you're gonna do that work. I remember when I accepted that USASOC in Iraq, I was doing some pre-deployment training at Bragg. What is it, SOMTC? Special Operations Mission Training Center?
Mhm.
Yeah. I ended up linking up with, Tom and Jen Satterley and
Nice.
Lauren Manley and T-Mac and whatnot, the usual corner at O'Donnell's. Um, because at the time, my civilian job was I was charitable giving manager for Black Rifle Coffee.
Okay.
I was meeting with them so I could, uh, pledge a sponsorship for one of their, for Camp Homefront via Black Rifle. Tom said, "So when are you gonna get some help?" And I'm like, "I'm good, man." And I knew I wasn't, right? But I felt good at the time because I had this mission. And that's exactly what I said. I was pretty honest. I was like, "I'm good for now, man. I've got a mission. I've got purpose. I'm all eyes forward right now." But I didn't finish that mission. I cracked open towards the end of that thing.
Man, yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit, man. I think a lot of guys find themselves in that trap. I got something I'm taking care of the boys. I'm gonna finally get my team sergeant shot. I'm here taking care of the guys. I'm doing everything I can to give them the best team experience. And at the end of the day, that guy's going home to nobody.
Mhm.
Doesn't have a
Yeah.
wife, doesn't have kids, very empty. There's maybe some drinking, maybe some going out. There's like eventually that's gonna crack. Like if you put too much emphasis on the team's keeping me alive, the mission's keeping me alive, you're gonna break at some point, man. I know I did. And it wasn't pretty. It was really fucking shitty. Like it's hard to stand up and say, like, Low Ridge saved my life. Going inpatient absolutely saved my life because I had an active plan. Like, and the one thing about our community is if we don't find vulnerability, if the right P3 therapist doesn't ask and doesn't forge that bond with you, doesn't say the right thing, you're going to follow through. We don't have
Mhm.
the greatest numbers, but the ones the studies show that when our guys, our community guys come to that point, they execute. We got to get you before that. We got to get you. This has to resonate with you. You got to be willing. You're willing to go to fucking dive school. You're willing to drown. You're willing to go to fucking free fall school. You're willing to go to sniper course. You're willing to do all these things. Be willing to go inpatient.
Mhm.
Be willing to go talk to a doctor, talk to a provider. Be willing to be honest for a little bit. Just be vulnerable. Learn that it's okay to open up to people and say, I need fucking help. Because it's part of being a warrior. Like none of us that have done this job and Tyr's right here. He's done it the longest. And if he's willing to sit here and say, hey man, there is a threshold, there is a limit to your suffering before you break. I'm telling you, it's human. We're human beings. None of us are impervious to this. But the
And
good
it's
news
not a
is,
challenge. It is not
yeah,
a challenge to find that threshold.
yeah.
You don't need you don't need to push yourself till you find that breaking point. There's a lot of other things you can do there, dive school, other selections, everything else to find where your limit might be. But don't go all Goggins with your mental health.
God's sakes. He ain't got no cartilage on his fucking knees. Yeah.
Everything's got a cost.
Yeah. Did and
Yeah.
it's like take us through that experience, man. Like what finally got you to say, yes, I'm gonna go to this hospital, I'm gonna go inpatient.
So through my own fault, I found myself at the end of my fourth marriage, which had really just started. I'd been engaged for a couple years, and then when that Iraq mission came up, I felt like it was a supremely bad idea to go down range with a fiance instead of a wife.
Hmm.
Not because of anything I wanted, but because if anything happened to me, she wasn't getting anything. And she also wouldn't have any dependent benefits at all to support her while I was gone. I'm not just talking about healthcare, just, everything that goes into family advocacy and whatnot. So we got married real quick right before I deployed. Um, but before I deployed, I cheated on her with an ex-girlfriend. Why did I do that? It wasn't because I was like, yeah, I still got it. It was because I was grasping at anything to make me feel better. And that chick reached out. I now know that she reached out with a grand scheme of breaking us up. But I fell for it, man. I fell for the trap. And so that was the impetus for that split. And when that happened, it also happened when the local chapter Hamas was getting real spicy in the neighborhood.
Oh shit.
So we're talking just post October of
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
So when everything kicked off between Gaza and Israel again, well, I can never pronounce this right. Kitab Hezbollah, is that
Good enough.
KH?
Fuck
We
'em.
just call it KH. The cool kids call it KH. They had us targeted. They had us bracketed fairly well. We had a good selector that had indicated that we were going to get hit at this time this night.
Mm.
And I was not a stranger to incoming, man. I was in Iraq for the entire surge, and then some. You know, I had my fair share of income. I've done casualty care under fire of 107 rockets, like literally shielding a casualty with a 107 going overhead.
Fuck.
So this isn't new to me, right? But this particular time, and this might be one of my greatest failings in the military, is we've got credible intel that we're getting hit at this time tonight. And rather than get everybody ready as the camp sergeant major, I sat there frozen in my trailer, and I just broke down crying, and I was ashamed of who I was at that moment, both at home and in Iraq, and I was equally welcoming that hit. Like, if this rocket could just hit this trailer right now, everything would be better. My kids are going to get 400K or 500K, whatever SGLI is now. And I can finally get some rest. Because, bro, I was tired. I was so tired. The rocket didn't come. And so I had to take things into my own hands. And I made a plan of, I was going to shoot myself with the Glock. And I was going to do it at the far end of Area 4 where the trash pile was. But I started thinking through the logistics of what happens after that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not leaving a note, right? I just thought that was too dramatic. Like, so I started thinking of what happens after that. I'm like, okay, so guys can't find me. And I'm sharing a hooch with my commander, so he's gonna notice I'm missing first. It's probably gonna be the Grom guys because they run out there on the range. One of them's gonna find me. And that's probably easier on them, but it's probably going to be the US dudes that have to bag me up and bring me back. And that's going to be seared into their memory for the rest of their lives. And then, and this is kind of the lighter side of suicidal ideations. So I told you we did our pre-deployment training at SARMS. Our J1 had to step out and was crying in the bathroom during SOMTC. And I don't know this for a fact, but being the operations sergeant major for that particular training mission, in my mind, what I put two and two together is we had just taken fake casualties, simulated casualties on the big screen. And her being the J1, she had to start the casualty notification paperwork and processing fake dead bodies. And I think that got to her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so it's long tab dudes that pick me up and bag me. And, Mortuary Fair is right across the street at BSC, so that's not that big of a deal. But she's going to have to process this paperwork. She's not going to be able to do it. Like, this is going to jack her up somebody else is augmenting the J1 is going to have to come in. Nobody in this unit has ever done any kind of casualty affairs. Like, this is, first off, it's going to jack her up for the rest of her life. Second, the paperwork's probably not getting it done right. And it's going to take months, if not years, to straighten all this out. That is what gave me the time and space to go, I need some help. That was the initial. The second was, if I do this, this is my legacy. I've got 28 years of kicking ass, more or less. But this is my legacy. Every deployment I've ever had away from my kids, they don't get to see the people I've saved or the missions I've led or the stuff that's still classified. They will never know that. What they will know is what they have to tell a therapist every week about their dad taking the easy way out. And that ultimately is why I walked up to my PA when he came back from the med mission one night in that little kitchen and said, I need to talk to somebody. That's what did it. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It was initially for my staff and teammates, and then for my kids. That's what saved my life, was my kids.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here with us, brother, and I'm glad and thank you for sharing that, but being vulnerable enough to walk us through the mindset of a sergeant major when he's in his darkest place.
I'm always taken a little surprised by when I talk to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I went to Laurel Ridge. Like, there's a lot of us that have made the right decision there, but I don't, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to go out and wear this on their sleeve, right? You know, what's yours is yours. But I feel like for me, with the platform I have and the resume I have, I'm doing the community an incredible disservice if I don't talk about this and try to set an example. And because there's a lot of times where I have not been a good example. But in this right here, for both people still in uniform and people out, guys need to know that if a special forces sergeant major who's done all this other stuff that is either above board or not talked about at all, if he can take that step and get help and talk about it, then why can't they? You know, why not me? And they need to know the whole backstory. Like, yeah, I knew I needed help, but I was busy. You know,
Yeah.
there was another thing. I had a thing to do. I'll get it later.
Everybody has to find their way in that journey. Everybody. I can't force you to go to it, but I realize what I can do is find people that are willing to give you a glimmer or a glimpse into their mindset, into what they've gone through, and give you, real, truthful, honest insight into their journey. Because I feel that there's a puzzle piece in everybody's story that we can all share, and it might fit within. And if my story doesn't resonate with you, I know maybe Tyr's will. And that's something that we need to be able to focus on, not just the cool guy stories on YouTube, because that's never going to bring anybody back from the brink.
Bro,
But
to me, this
stories,
is a cool guy story. You know, it may not recruit people into the regiment. I mean, we need that too. But these are stories that
will save somebody.
The dudes with tabs, both long and short, they need to hear this.
Yeah.
They need it. Shit, man. The 4-year 0311 needs to hear this.
Yes.
No. It's there's no excuse for somebody not to get help, whether they're in or out.
Yeah.
Guys that are still in don't get help because, one, they don't want to dull their edge, which is less of an excuse now because we're not kinetic anywhere, right? Or they're afraid it'll affect their security clearance.
Yes.
You know, that's a big one. And that's a policy issue right there. Like, I've seen the SF-86 morph from, you better not have any mental health counseling at all, to, oh, you had marriage counseling. Yeah, everybody has that. That's fine. Well, it needs to switch to good.
Yeah.
Instead of, what was it about? I've had 4 years of counterintelligence training, and I wear white socks with my dress shoes. Tell me about your legitimate issues.
It's real life, man. And the best individuals that I have served with, like they're coming into service with things. And that's a reality. Like a lot of our guys,
Yeah.
they're not coming in here with a clean slate. They're carrying some shit on that back already. Like,
Yes. That's whether the Army admits to it or not, we recruit for that. We
yes.
recruit for it,
Yeah.
especially in special forces.
There's actually a book about it. Deep as Well talks about ACEs, and that child, that individual that grew up with all that adversity
Mhm.
has the potential to have this amazing post-traumatic growth that makes them very, very attractive to special operations. And our
Yeah.
psychs have tapped into that because they know
Yeah.
that Johnny grew up in gang culture, and Johnny's mom was an addict, and his dad wasn't home, and he had to steal for food and beg, plead, and borrow to get money, and he figured out a way to survive on the streets, but he never got arrested. He never got addicted to drugs. Then he went into the Marine Corps, and then went to Force Recon, and then found himself in being in the Marine Corps and being in the Special Forces. That individual exists, and he does really well. But after 7, 8 deployments, he needs help.
Yep.
It's okay to say that, yeah, you deserve to heal, brother. You deserve to get better. All of us do. And I think it's part of the warrior culture to finally, at some point, come back into the fire, take a knee and say, brothers, like, how can I get help? And then guys like us can say, like, hey, here's some options. Whichever
There
one
are
you want to go to,
so
try
many
it.
options out there. And for the guys, segueing off that security clearance thing, there are programs out there that are non-attributable. They're already paid for. There's no reason. All Secure Foundation does it, and the Special Forces Trust does it. That's two right off the top that specialize just for our community. But there's other ones out there that do first responders and whatnot. Charitable Trust is called Beyond the Battlefield, and All Secure Foundation. You just hit them up, and
Yeah.
as long
Same
as you're
Special Forces Foundation. Hit them up. If you need anything, reach out. Like the amount of support that is right there, dude. I'm telling you right now, Cody is just chomping at the bit, waiting for you to call
that
and
dude's
reach
awesome.
out.
I don't know where he finds the time, man.
Yeah, yeah, and it's because we love each other. We really, at the end of the day, we love our community, and we don't want you struggling. We don't want you. You're you're valuable to me, even if I don't know you and I never met you.
Yeah.
I'm Our community is better, and our nation is better with you around. So take this to heart. Understand that if you're listening to this and you're suffering right now, we want you to get better. All you have to do is find that little bit of vulnerability, find that little bit, lean into it, and ask for help. And the moment you ask, man, shit's going to start opening up. You'll have access to care, and you're going to have a million fucking people reaching out to you, trying to figure out like what you need, where you want to go.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, and it can be a lot. It can be frustrating, but know that it's coming from a great place. People really do care about you, and they want you around. I'm fortunate to be a part of Special Forces Foundation and constantly champion them. Reach out, man. Even if it's in the DMs of Instagram or Facebook, just reach
Yeah.
out if you need help.
I
We're
get
gonna get you there.
I've had a few DMs that have made a difference. I mean, there's DMs. I get DMs all the time for supporting me, especially after my last post. People are like, "Dude, are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was a rough morning." But I have had some DMs where I've been able to link them up with resources, and um, that's that's the positive side of
Yeah,
social media.
that's the
For
beautiful thing about the
nonstop
brotherhood.
dudes, I
Yeah.
do want to pimp out boot campaign because they will
Okay.
take anyone and everyone, and for special operations guys that are not uh, of the Green Beret variety,
Yeah.
you've got All Secure Foundation and
Yep.
SOCF. SOCF is a fantastic nonprofit that will help anybody from the soft
Yep.
community to include contractors.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is a really overlooked community.
Yes, it is. I had Morgan Lorette on the show and talking to him about that. I mean, there's a lot of guys that, I mean, it's ingrained in GWOT culture. Those guys were there. They were in the fight. And when you look at that look at that community especially, there's not a lot of resources. There's not like Eric isn't standing up a new nonprofit to support his dudes. I don't know why. I don't know. Let's figure that out, Eric. Those guys, they did a lot for you. Let's bring in some of that money. Let's stand something up.
It's a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
it frustrates me to see and hear the stories because it's such a small group. It deserves to have its resources. And the guy that kind of started it all, he's still here. He still has a
Yeah.
shitload of money.
Yeah. Yeah. You might have to go to Dubai for the program, but
Man, I'd love to have him on the show. I'd love to figure out, just tap into that mindset because I just saw
or
the headline. Yeah, hit up the Pope. Be like, hey, Nigerian Christians are dying at a rapid rate. You should hire us. I'm like, come on, guy.
right. Yeah. So the Blackwater community from like the Surge area,
Yeah,
era when it was still Blackwater, not the artist formerly known as Blackwater, which I've done both. Like
Blackwater Light.
the last time I was a BW independent contractor, my contract was through XE.
Hmm.
My paycheck came from U.S. Training Center, and I had to sign an NDA with Academy with an I.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
weird time.
yeah.
I, some order of that. It doesn't really matter. But we've lost 43 Blackwater dudes kinetically. It's out of force. It's like in the low hundreds. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I don't know if we've exceeded that number by suicide yet, but it's getting up there. When I hate answering phone calls, but I'm afraid not to answer a phone call because when those guys reach out,
It's never a good
there's
call.
a 50-50 shot of whether or not they're telling me that somebody's dead. So yeah, the contract community deserves that support. A lot of those guys did the same jobs as military, just under a different set of rules. Sometimes the uneducated military guy looks at them as mercenaries, or you were just there for the money. I just said I wasn't, right? I was there because I wanted to do the job. Or they look at him as like, oh yeah, but you made all that money tax free. That money is not tax free.
It's not. I found
Never.
out the hard
Soldier
way.
money,
Talking to a lot
that
of
is
those
tax
guys.
free. No, dude, I'm still clearing up taxes from contractor deployments, and I haven't
Shout out,
done that in
yeah.
12 years.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Morgan because we dove into his story. And I'm like, dude, you must be loaded now. He's like, well, actually, let
Yeah.
me. And he broke it down. I'm like, fuck, dude. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
And,
Let me lay some sergeant major knowledge on the line. Now, like, if you think you're going to get out after being a Marine security guard for 4 years and then go make your fortune as a contractor, sir, you are not. Take that job. Take that GI Bill to go to college, especially if you're married with children, because all that money you got there, you think your wife doesn't go, we can now afford these new Valances and this new thing for the house and blah, blah, blah. Like everything, when that check rolls in, when all of a sudden there's 5 digits in your checking account instead of 4, the standard of living at home goes up to compensate for you not being there. And even if you've got an agreement, there's only one time I've really seen this work out. And that is my friend Willie Blazer up in Ennis, Montana, who he and his wife started Willie's Distillery. He contracted just long enough to get the seed money for that distillery.
nice.
And now he's doing well.
Now I knew one guy. He did it right. He contracted, saved up all the money he needed, and then used that money to be very frugal while he was going to school to become a doctor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can do it. But I mean, it's not the guys that are living a lavish lifestyle. It's the guy that's like, I'm getting sandwiches and noodles and I'm stockpiling this money and
Yeah.
I'm working and using my benefits to make insane money as a doctor. Um, it's the ones that go for the boring, but with the big payout.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, getting your education is a great deal. Especially if you use that education to give back, because like I say all the time, we're still in the shortage of providers, and who better to talk to a veteran than another veteran? Like it's so if guys are willing to do that, and you can do it in so many different ways. Hell, you don't have to go to school, get a certification, peer-to-peer support.
That's my goal,
Yeah,
honestly. I want to do that. I've been wanting to do that. But I recognize that I'm still putting, I'm still putting my own mask on.
Yes.
So, and it's not that I'm really on the struggle bus now. It's that I'm in this period of transition that I don't think, especially with grandpa moving and whatnot, I don't think I could put one more thing on my plate.
No, brother. No.
Over. And
No.
that's an important thing for people to recognize is it is okay to say no.
100 fucking percent. And that's
Especially if you got the resume, man, things are once you've got a reputation, things are gonna start coming your way and you're gonna get thrown a lot of things. You gotta be able to say no.
Yeah. Dude, I can't thank you enough for making time for this today, man. Yeah, you're someone that I've wanted to sit down with for a very long time because not only do people respect you and love you and hold you to high regard, but you're somebody that, like I said earlier, we barely scratched the surface of it, but you've seen this GWOT era from the very beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And who better to talk us through it than you? So I'm excited to see what else you get into, especially other podcasts and your own writing, because as we shared when we were talking over the phone, man, like your story needs to be told. Not just you at home, you as well, but your story needs to be told so we can understand what the full impact and hear all the inside stories and everything you experienced, man, because flipping hats throughout the entirety of this 20-year war, like, dude, I know there's got to be stories that are going to make me say, what the fuck?
There's a lot of passport stamps in there. A lot of passport stamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this again, man, because not everything is, needs to be doom and gloom.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Really important for people to know that the help's out there and they need it, whether they believe it or not. But there's also some laughs to be had.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And just remember, man, you don't have to have a plan for tomorrow or the next day, dude. In this period, just take it day by day. And one piece of advice for every QTC appointment, bring all your documents. I don't care what anybody said. Every appointment, they never had any of my medical records. And I walked in there with a backpack, be like, you don't have any of my, yeah, it's not loaded. And I feel like so many guys get fucked over. So I was like, well, I have my records with me. He's like, so they always just went off what I brought. So that's free chicken right there to you. If you're retiring anytime soon, getting out, medically retired, bring all your stuff because every appointment, they were going off my notes. And please be informed about traumatic brain injury, TBI, operator syndrome. Take 5 seconds out of your day to day. Go check it out. I made it super easy. I got a blog on my website. Go check it out. It's still under development in the redesign. I just approved the final redesign, so it's still the old logos, but by next month, hopefully. So, but the blog is still there.
Still under development.
Yeah. There you go. Free of charge. Man, thanks again for being here, brother. I can't thank you enough. If people want to get a hold of you, where can they go?
Red Leader Standing By is my Instagram. It is it is occasionally shadow banned, so you have to punch it in Red Leader _ Standing By. I'm under true name there, Tyr Symank, Tyr Symank. Make sure it's a dude with a cowboy hat and a mustache, or you're talking to a Nigerian. I got a lot of Nigerian fans out there.
Hell yes. Now I got to go find them. Dude, again, thank you so much. And to everybody listening and tuning in, thank you so much. Please do me a favor. Check us out on Spotify and Apple and leave us a review, 5 stars. I'd really appreciate it. And check out our sponsors. Doing another giveaway here pretty soon. So stand by and get ready to support us because you're going to get some free shit, some free stuff, some swag. Who knows? I'm Deny Caballero. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. Till then, take care. Security Halt Podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan SARMS. Head to the episode description and check out Titan SARMS today.